Welcome to EDC Journeys. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Have a great day. What's going on, EDC people, and what's our journey this time? Not good weather here in Vermont. It's 10:50, Wednesday the 7th. It is going to rain probably within an hour, so I'm trying to do this. You can see it's very dark and cloudy. I'm trying to do a video before the rain starts, just because it's always better to do one outdoors. I'll probably do one inside too, probably later, but during this video, my daughter had an idea, and I thought it was kind of cool. She said, you should read off some of the comments on your 100 subscriber giveaway. And I don't have my microphone, so I'm sorry if the wind is making this hard to hear. It is what it is. So I just have some knives out for you to look at. I'll play with some. I'll try to play with some while I read this. I have it like enlarged in front of me. Let's see here. One guy says, I started out with a cheap fake Swiss, and a few days later I bought a Spyderco Shaman. Then I got completely addicted. It was a very big jump in my opinion, but it was completely worth it. I then got a Hinderer. I then began to mod a bit, which with Hinderers, what a great choice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, I still have the original Leatherman from my uncle, and I still love it. Can't wait to get a custom eventually. That's one person's. I'm not really playing while I'm talking anyway. This guy says, I started the way a lot of people started, by receiving a couple different CRKTs as birthday and Christmas presents, starting probably almost 20 years ago from my uncle. I bought a few different Kershaw leaks, but my true interest in knives is when I bought a Kershaw Junkyard Dog 2. I don't even know that knife. Spyderco has quickly become one of my favorite brands, followed by ZT. I love customizing my knives to make them my own, and I definitely use them. It's an incredibly fun hobby that I share with my daughter, niece, and now my girlfriend's son. Congratulations on the 100 subs, and keep up the great work. That's cool. I love it when people share their passion with somebody, especially like a daughter, like I do, or a grandson or granddaughter or whatever. But as you guys know, if you follow the channel, you know that I love to have my daughter involved in everything too. So teach her not only the knife safety, but the joy of it, really. Let's see, another person. Congrats on the first mile. By the way, none of these are the winners. I hope to make that clear. I'm just reading off some of the comments people made. Congrats on the first milestone. The request for how we got into knives should make for some interesting reading. I will have to check back in a week to see all the replies. Oh, there's more. Read more. Oh boy, that's longer than I expected. My start. I grew up on a farm where my knives were a necessity for getting chores done. My first knife was a Barlow, and I promptly tested it out by carving into the linoleum floor of my bathroom. I'm trying to read far away and play with a knife on the screen. This is hard. So shortly after learning how to use a knife safely, I learned how to not use a knife safely. I lost so many knives those first 2 years that I finally had to work without one. I solved this problem by using a broken arrowhead to cut open the bales of hay. And if you know what he's talking about, to open a bale of hay, you should, well, I can't even really, you gotta, if you don't have any idea about it, you should Google it, or not Google it, YouTube it and watch. Some of them come in these bales that you have to cut. Bales of hay. It was too sharp to keep in my pocket, so I kept it under my belt. That's cool that you kept it that sharp, or did it just stay that sharp, I wonder? I then got a Camp King pocket knife with a bail. That's the little thing on the back of it, so I could tie it to my belt. My knife collection slowly grew from there. I would love to know where you are now with your knife collection. If you hear this and you're that person, you should update your comment and tell me that's where you were, and that's cool. That's a good enough reply, good enough comment to enter and everything, but I'm just curious, where are you now? Let's see, I have one from another guy. Oh my god, I think I hear raindrops. This is gonna get cut off, guys. I'm not reading everyone's. I can't. There's too many. I'm just going through a list. Congrats on the 100 milestone. I've been in this hobby for about a decade, so I have dozens of stories. Alright, let's continue where we were. I'm inside now. You were listening to someone do the dishes. Alright, let's see the next comment. It is, I'm in the midst of starting over. I had a knife collection when I was younger. It wasn't impressive by any means, but they were my knives. Long story short, at one point in my life, I lived in a vehicle that ended up breaking down, and while I was away from it, pretty much all of my stuff disappeared. Hang on, I'm switching knives. Was just left with the clothes I had on. Many years later, I'm trying to read this screen from this photo. Many years later, within the past 3 years, I decided I wanted a collection again, and now have a small collection building. By the way, my driving force for wanting knives started with the knives my father and grandfather carried. But my dad's knife was the knife that appeals to me the most as a kid. It was an old-timer 510T. Compared to the other pocket knives I remembered seeing at that time, mostly traditional Stockmans and Congresses, etc., the 510T seemed like such a big, beefy knife in my mind. At least it's in my mind, at least. And it really seemed like the epitome of a manly knife. Thanks for the opportunity. Congrats on the milestone. Good luck, everybody. That's a nice comment. Let's see. We have another one. It says, congrats on the 100 milestone. I've been in this hobby for about a decade, so I have dozens of stories. I think I started this one when it started to rain. I can't remember if I finished it. I'll have to edit it out if I did. Congrats on the 100 milestone. I've been in this hobby for about a decade, so I have dozens of stories. I remember one time I saw an eBay listing for 3 knives that were dull. The Rat 1, a Spyderco Tenacious, and a Kershaw that I can't recall. I contacted the seller and offered to sharpen his knives for free. He refused and said he had no interest in learning to sharpen. Knives were just disposable. Look at the testing Outpost 76. Oh, there you go. Plug for Outpost 76, my buddy Gerald does, and how much performance is gained from sharpening. Hey, look at this particular knife I'm flipping right now. You saw the fresh, what I assume is probably a factory edge or just the first edge that was put on it. Shipped in 2 seconds, very, very easily by accident. And now the new edge seems fine. Where was I? Look at the testing Outpost 76 does and how much performance is gained. When I got into this hobby, 8CR13 was highly praised because users could sharpen it. Right now, I do all different kinds of testing, and I feel my place belongs with experimental trial steels like Spyderco Mule knives. I'm not familiar with that term, actually. I don't know if that's a particular knife or what. I'll have to look that up. I own many knives and stones. In fact, I just put up my stone collection on Instagram. I just wanted to congratulate you on your milestone. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. I'm going to have to look up your name on Instagram and check out your stone collection. I've got, let's see, every time so I have this zoomed in big so I can see it, but I have to hit the view more button to see everything, and it's just this little tiny, okay. It says, I got into knives from my father. He was a merchant marine. Let me switch knives before I get started here. He was a merchant marine who always carried but couldn't sharpen to save his life. He taught me how, and to his delight, I was pretty good at it. It quickly became my job to keep all of his knives in the house sharp. Funny you should mention the Buck 110. Hold on a second. Okay, you mentioned 110, the Buck 110, so I paused it. This is not the Buck 110. This is my cat, Chewy. You can't even see his fluffy head. It's over here in the window. I'm trying to get some natural light, and he enjoys sitting on my knives. Anyways, you mentioned the Buck 110. Sorry for the noise. I wanted to pull out the one that I'm substituting for the Buck 110 right now. This is the one that I refinished and gave to my dad. Hang on just one second. Sorry about that. So where were we? Buck 110. Funny you should mention the Buck 110. This is not a Buck 110, but it looks like it. It was quite the rage in the late 60s and I saved up for my first one. Sadly, it's gone now, but I've got a newer one to replace it. They never failed me and probably never will. You know, it's funny. Well, let me finish this. I have taken a shining to some of the new tacticals out there and have accumulated a small collection. Good luck with the channel, and thanks for the chance to win in the giveaway. I'm in. Thumbs up. Yes, you are in. So, it's funny. The Buck 110 has got to be, like, I've heard the story so many times, and it's my story too. How many people's father or grandfather carried the Buck 110, or themselves, depending on your age, carried the Buck 110, and that's one of the memories you have, and one of the many reasons you got into knives. It is for me too, and that's, if you go back, I have a whole video on this particular knife that my neighbor traded me, and I sharpened up and got all nice looking and gave it to my dad. Chewy, come out of the window. Okay, so he lays down more. So anyway, so this is cool, and in this particular one, it's called, I think I tried looking it up once, but I have to do it again. It's not officially a Buck 110, I don't think. It's a cut, it's labeled on the tang, and of course I can't see it with my little spotlight. Cut, let me look around the camera, that'd be smart, huh? Cutmaster with a K, Cutmaster. So I have no idea if this was, if Buck made this because it was a promotional knife for a company. And someone who worked at that company, anyways, it got into my hands. So I don't know if Buck made it and used that name as I don't know, or if it's just a kind of a knockoff of a Buck, but I like this one more. I like how it's thinner, and I can get a better grip on it myself, but nothing can replace the original Buck, and how, they really are almost indestructible, and I say almost, but my dad's broke. Let's go to the next comment. My grandfather used to carry an old electrician-style pocket knife. I like electrician-style pocket knives. Not that I'm an electrician, but an old electrician-style pocket knife when I was a kid. He was a handy person and used it for everything from working in the garden to doing handyman jobs. He gave me my first folder. It had a missing blade and a broken scale. Oh, I know that. But it came in handy. Led me to my first Swiss Army knife, which perpetuated my interest. Right now, I prefer flippers and assisted, even as there are so many beautiful slip joints right now. And then it cuts off. Let's see here. So you said in the end, how did you say that in the end? Led me to my first Swiss Army knife, perpetuated my interest. Right now, I prefer flippers and assisted. Okay, so something like I was playing with at the beginning, like the Kershaw Leak is a flipper with an assisted opening. And by the way, to states that California, where an automatic that's under 2 or over 2 inches is illegal, even Vermont, an automatic over 3 inches is illegal to carry off my own property. What is the difference between that and this? Why does that law exist? How come an 18-year-old can buy a handgun right now and carry it loaded and concealed in Vermont without a license? I mean, the ATF background check and everything, but they can carry a loaded concealed pistol. Not a rifle. They have to be 21 for the rifle, but you can buy the pistol. But it's illegal to carry an automatic over 3 inches when this is not considered an automatic. Anyways, whatever. I'm off on a tangent now. See what you guys do to me. Here's one. My dad always carried a pocket knife. Let me do the expansion. My dad always used to carry a pocket knife in his briefcase. An amber bone trapper. That's funny. I have a traditional showing up this weekend or tomorrow because it's in Nashua, New Hampshire right now that a company is sending me. And I think it's not a trapper, it's a stockman. I think this is technically a trapper, right? I don't really particularly like trappers, but I like this for the Clover. This is the channel's quote-unquote mascot knife. I don't know where I left off now. Okay. Because, okay, so here's an amber bone trapper because, in quotes, I might need it, so I better have it. That sounds like something a father would say. I had a few pocket knives through life. Cat, what are you doing? Go. Hang on. Okay, sorry guys, the cat moved and I had to, alright. I had a few pocket knives through life, but early last year, I bought my first quality knife, a Kershaw Leak. Hey, this again. And I started carrying it every day with his words running through my mind whenever I used it. I've upgraded to a second-hand Griptilian, and I'd say I am still at the start of my journey, just searching out people who discuss EDC and learning all I can while trying to figure out what calls to me. That sounds familiar. Congratulations on 100. That is huge. The EDC community here on YouTube constantly amazes me with how close and supportive they are. Glad that you are part of it. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you're a part of it too. And I hope that your collection grows soon. That's a good story. I've been into knives. Let's see the next one. I've been into knives since I was a kid and carried around a little lockback in the hills. Lockback. I already have one out here, but let me grab another one. A lockback in the hills. The hills? Where the heck are you? Over the years, it has become a way of bonding with my dad. We both collect and trade back and forth. Now that sounds really familiar. Collect and trade back and forth. At this point in my journey, I'm into flippers and autos. Happy early birthday to you and the Knife Whisperer, by the way. Very cool giveaway. Thank you. Thank you for the happy birthday, and shout out to the Knife Whisperer. His birthday is the day before mine. It's the only way I could possibly remember that, because I can barely remember what the day it is. Let's go down. Next one. Everyone has a read more because I have it so zoomed in. And then I got what? I'm sorry I don't have my microphone. My daughter's here, which means that I don't get to use her. It's her microphone. Whenever I have one, I'm using hers. I have to get my own, apparently. Let's see, I got one. My father worked construction, so then we know your father had a buck 110, didn't he? I guarantee it. So growing up, of course, that meant I worked with him on all of the projects around the house. He always carried and it's a capital S-A-K, sack. I'm not familiar with that. I don't know what that stands for. I probably do and don't realize it. And when I started doing things that required a knife, I'm trying to play with this and read this. Now I'm lost. He always cared to say. And when I started doing things that required a knife, he got me one of my own. And from that, I got hooked. I have carried all kinds of folding blades and fixed blades over the years, but I still carry a sack, whatever that is. I'm going to have to look it up right after this. With me pretty much every single day, oftentimes alongside a larger folding knife. Nowadays, I look for things I haven't tried before, whether it's a different blade shape, lock type, deployment method, new steel or handle materials. I like trying them out, but no matter what, I will probably always carry the sack for the rest of my life. I've got to look up what this sack is. Hang on. Oh my god, now I feel stupid. Swiss Army knife. Duh. S-A-K, Swiss Army knife. Okay. Alright, gotcha. You'll always carry a Swiss Army knife. That makes sense. I used to have a Swiss Army knife. I got one for Christmas one year when I was a kid. It was about this thick and had every tool you could possibly imagine, probably in a toolbox. But of course, all at that one fixed, sack sizing. As like, the screwdrivers and everything were, there was only one size. But it was about this thick and every tool. And my name was on it, actually, on the scale. It was engraved or whatever. But eventually the scale broke, and I had it in my room. I wasn't into EDC at that point. I liked the knife. I used it when I had something to do around the house, or, when I needed it, but it just sat there otherwise. And somehow the scale cracked. I can remember that. And ever since that moment, I didn't know anything about replacing scales or anything like that. So from that moment, it kind of became broken to me. And from there, I don't know where it is, unfortunately. Now I'm going to pause this for 1 second while I go back to the comments. All right, next comment says, first, good job getting that chip out on the S110V. He's talking about the Manix 2. I just got, oh, never mind. The first second I tried to use it, it got a little chip in it. This is brand new to me, and I can only assume it's from a heat treat, you know, at the factory. I sharpened it, got it out. That's what he's saying. This is the knife that he's referring to, which I'm happy about. Okay, on S110V no less. My journey started when my uncle gave me a sack. Oh look, another SAK. So Swiss Army knife. Now I know that. See, you learn something new every day. When I was 12. Shortly after that, my father opened a seafood store. Okay, the cat is wiggling its tail and knocking everything. Where was I? My father opened a seafood store, and I was using fillet knives. That gave way to cold steel. That gave way to a cold steel Tanto that I still have. Wow. So you worked at your father's seafood restaurant or store and used a fillet knife, which led you to a cold steel Tanto. That doesn't seem to line up to me, but that's cool that you got to learn how to do, like, what kind of fish did he do? That's hard a lot of time. What's that fish? It's a flatfish. Did he do, okay, well, it'll come to me sometime. But anyways, moving on. Then Cold Steel gave me a knife leading to Desert Storm. Then I got into buck folders and picked up a bantam. Oh wait, let me back up. When I went to Korea, I noticed everyone had a buck 110, so I got one. Oh, I see. I skipped a sentence there. I'm sorry, bud. Then Cold Steel gave me a knife leading up to Desert Storm. Then I got into buck folders and picked up a bantam that I gave to my father since he always carried a buck. I bet you it was the buck 110, right? I bought 3 more knives. I'm assuming he meant 3. Over the year, oh, a few more knives. I see, a few more knives over the years. And then I took a plunge and bought a Benchmade Freak. It has S30V steel, and I had no idea they were different blade steels. So this is the knife that broke me. I see what you're saying. Since then, I've had numerous knives in the $20 to $300 range. I'm sorry. Come back and go. I'll always have a buck due to my father. Huh? And I just might be a Benchmade fanboy, and I am a much bigger value hunter. I have at least 20 bargain knives from Ganzos to budget Spydercos, a few higher ones. My sons are into knives too. One carries a ZT 0450, and the other carries a bench. Is the ZT the 0450? Is that their most famous one? Isn't there one that they're like really super known for? I'm sure it's a Hinder design. I don't know if it's the 450 or not. Anyways, and the other carries a Benchmade Grizzly Ridge. They have their own collections too, and we trade regularly. That's the journey in a nutshell. That's really cool that you got your sons into it and that you trade with them and go back and forth. I have no idea. I've actually, believe it or not, never held a Benchmade, so I don't know. I know the Griptilian and the Freak, but I've never seen the Grizzly Ridge. That's one I'll have to look at. The next comment's a nice short one. My first knife was a cheap Balisong that I picked up when I was on a trip. Then my grandmother gave me a Victorinox Classic, and that is how I started collecting them. Very cool. I collected when I was younger. Then this is the next comment. I collected when I was younger quite a bit. It was mostly... Wow, apparently a lot of you know what the Saks thing is, because I didn't. Swiss Army knives and fixed blades. Some gas station knives, LOL. After I got married and started having kids, my collection slowly went away, and I went down to just a knife Gerber paraframe, if I remember, and my old Leatherman. Sorry, here I'm trying to go down. Well, after my first marriage ended about 6 years ago, I discovered the EDC community again and began collecting again, and I've built a small collection that I enjoy. Congratulations to you, my friend, on this milestone, and cheers to many more subs. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad that you are in the community again. And It's very cool that you just started rebuilding your collection. I know exactly how you feel because that's where I am. This next one, oh boy. My journey can best be described so far with 3 stages. Okay, we've got to get an easy one for me to play with to do this one because I've got to read and flip. So we've got to go to the 3 easy stages: introduction, hiatus, and reconnecting. My introduction began as a 12-year-old. I would go fishing every summer with my uncle. In that summer, he gave me my first pocket knife along with his safety talk. It was a traditional lockback. Something like this, or buck, or which I did not know at the time. Wait a second. It was a traditional lockback, which I did not know at the time. To me, it was my Excalibur. Oh, I see. I love that thing. It came with leather belt sheath, I'm sorry, I gotta zoom in more. This is so hard to see. And I carry it every day. I carried it every day that summer. I live in New York, and still do. We are not a knife-friendly state. So when it was time for me to go back to school, my parents sat me down and explained all the problems that I can get into if I carry a knife, and I decided it would be best if they took it away. Oh, and they decided, I was going to say, you decided that? Anyways, I was devastated, and my hiatus in knife would begin. And the knife world began. I did not own or purchase a knife for the next 30 plus years. Holy cow. Then reconnecting began about 4 years ago. I received an email from some knife company offering a deal on some cheap knife for $10. I made my first purchase, followed by a few more. Like I said, they were cheap, but they did cut and had a little cool factor to them, at least in mine. In my mind, I see. Stupid autocorrect, huh? I found some knife reviews on YouTube, and that opened my world to the knife community. And that got me hooked. I started learning about manufacturing, locking mechanisms, steel, shot show, blade show, production, mid-tech, custom knives, and much more. So now, before I make a purchase, I look for 2 things. First, is a knife on sale? That's good. That's a good deal. Second, is to have several good YouTube reviews. You know, good, the great, the bad, the ugly. Yes, I do. This should be a gem, right? Here's one from the Knife Whisperer, who is a virtual friend of mine, another YouTuber. I guess I could put that one down now that I'm done trying to read and talk. I'm not good at reading and talking and zooming and scrolling down, and every time a message pops up on the computer, I have to re-click the screen so that my buttons go down. All right, this is going to be dangerous because I'm not good at this yet. All right, I've always had a love for knives, but I didn't start really appreciating them until I was about 25. I randomly came across a video about the ZT-0560. You see, ZT has way too many. I don't know the numbers now. I'm really confused if the other one was the one I was thinking of. I saved for a month and bought it. Once I had that knife, I was hooked. Now I have a knife channel, and I talk with others about their addiction to these beautiful tools. Well, Knife Whisperer, I know how you feel about that, and I'm sorry if these are too dark to see. My light, I'm trying not to blind myself. It's on the other side of this table, shining this way. So, this is my mask. I thought it was a Hank. This is the mask I wear around. So, I was about to say, if any of you want to see these knives better, just let me know, but like, as if we're live, but we're not. I can't wait to be able to do that. That's one thing I can't wait to do, is to be able to talk to you guys live. Looks like, okay, it's another comment. Looks like you did well on the Mannix. He's referring to the sharpening that S110V Mannix too. Besides a few pilfered slippies from my father, my first good knife was a Buck 110 that I saved up paper route money to buy in 1979 at age 13. With my dad standing behind me, of course. I carried that knife and other 110s for many, many years. Approximately 3 years ago, I bought a rat 1 and 2 after watching a bit of YouTube. I still love slip joints and fell hard for Benchmade, especially the bug out and the freak. Added a couple Spydercos which I really enjoy, several Hogue/Ritter RSKs, Microtech UDT, which I'm jealous of you now. That's the LEDT, right? Isn't it the same thing? UDT and LED, is it? I think that's the same thing. I want the Microtech LEDT. It looks so cool. And I don't care that they have all that billboarding on the blade. I like it. I like that it has like a birth date right on the blade. My first ZT is on the way. I'm so stoked. Totally addicted at this point, but enjoying myself. Digging your content so far and looking forward to more in the future. Take care, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great story. Your first CT is on the way. You're going to have to let me know. Go back and edit on this comment or something, or make a new comment, or email me, or get a hold of me on Instagram. Let me know how that ZT came. I've loved knives for as long as I can remember. I'm 41. This is another comment. I'm 41 now, and my mother gave me a big butcher knife a couple years ago that my grandmother gave me at 3. Wait, what? My mother gave me a big butcher knife a couple years ago that my grandmother gave me at 3. My mom took it from me and just now gave it back. Maybe she feels like I can handle it now. LOL. That's funny. That's funny. You're 41. Yeah, you should be able to handle a butcher knife now. Do you have any folding knives? Are you into the folding knife scene, or is it just kitchen knives? I have kitchen knives too, but that's what led me to this. I started with kitchen knives, and then I discovered that the cooking part wasn't the fun part, it was the knives. So I kind of switched to a different perspective. Let's see here. Go to one more, I guess. This is another one. I am new to all of this. I made a bad first knife purchase, and my quest was on to find a good one. Now I am... Oh, I know who this is. We speak over emails. Now I am hooked and keep wanting better ones, and am into flippin' fidget knives. Flippin' fidget knives. Are you into flippin' fidget knives or flipping fidget knives? I am soaking up everything I can, watching and learning. Great channel, and thank you for the great... That's the end of the comment. Okay. Well, you're welcome for whatever the grade is. Looks like I have one more that I can get to. No, there's more, but I'm gonna. Okay, well, we'll read 2 more. Okay. Outpost 76. I have to mention him. He actually is the one who I think pushed me over the hill and got me to start the YouTube channel. When I was like explaining to him that I had no idea what my channel would be about because I'm just beginning, but I knew that somehow I wanted to fit into this community. He's like, well, isn't that... I mean, he's kind of the one who gave me the idea of doing the journey, you know, with you guys. And that's where the channel came from. So Outpost 76 had to get a mention. He says, good luck to everyone. This is not an entry. Congrats on 100. I'm happy to see you growing. Keep it up. He's a good guy. If you have any questions on blade steel... What are all these pop-ups? If you have any questions on blade steels or specific steels against another steel, you know, for example, go to his channel. Subscribe if you like his stuff. He has details about, you know, the edge retention of S90V from this company compared to S90V from this company. He does stuff like that all the time. He does challenges, if you follow him on Instagram, where you can carry along with him. You know, he's carrying, say, I think it was S30V this past week or 2 weeks. And people follow along with him doing the same thing and kind of like collectively get results and see how they feel about S30V or whatever the steel is they're testing at that point. Brings me up a good point. Patty from Patty's Potato Peelers challenged anyone, not YouTubers specifically, but anyone to use... I can't pull it out when I have no nails, it's so hard. To use their, you know, basic traditional knife as their EDC for all cutting tasks for 2 days. I did it. It's now been 48 hours that I've used this as my primary cutting tool. except for 2 occasions when I needed something bigger. It's dull. Well, it's not dull. I guess a normal person would probably still consider that sharp. I wouldn't want to get stabbed by it, but yeah, you can see the fibers of the stuff I've been cutting. I definitely need to get it back to working condition again. But Patty, you're 100% right. This is a Rough Rider in 440 steel. And for the average Joe, look at that patina on that copper. That used to be bright. Check my Instagram to see how it came. Holy cow. It amazes me every time I look at it. What was I saying? Patty, you're 100% correct. This is more than enough for an average person to use as a daily carry knife, especially considering it's cheap in cost. It's easy to get an edge back. I could probably get a sharper edge right here. See, this thing here is my strop. I don't know why you can't really tell, but if I stropped it up on there a few times, it would be, I bet you it would be nearly, whatever. My point is, you know, until you know, how do I say this? Unless you have a job that you continually regularly cut things, and you have to, you know that you're going to be cutting through staples or baler wire or whatever, hay bale, then you need something stronger than this. But for an EDC, the thing that you're going to use, not necessarily at work, but in your pocket, that you're going to cut something small with here and there, there's really, most people could get away with a budget steel, whether they like to admit it or not. Let's see here. I'll do one more. I do have more comments, but I'll just read one more for now because it's getting too long. My dad passed. Oh gosh. Let's see. This says my dad passed away when I was 14. I remember watching him sharpen knives, both hunting and self-defense daggers. He puts in parentheses. I still have these. Some are extremely beaten up. Tried to learn to throw the daggers. LOL. I got back into knives because of prepping and watching YouTube channels. Got some cheap knives and really started getting into Ganzo and Chinese knives. I know that feeling clearly. Once I purchased an Ontario Rat 1, started to realize that quality matters. The Spyderco Shaman hooked me through Metal Complex. Another channel on YouTube is Metal Complex. The Spyderco Shaman hooked me though. The Spyderco, sorry, I don't have my glasses on and this is really far away. The Spyderco Shaman hooked me though. Metal Complex is responsible for the Shaman, Para 3 Maximate, and Hogue Ritter RSK. The Para 3 Maximate, I love my Para 3, and I literally have no need for Maximate, but I've seen Metal Complex talk about his Para 3. Did I see Max? I have seen Metal Complex talk about his Maximate Para 3, and it would have talked me into getting one had I not had this. The Hogue Ritter, I don't know, there's something about it. I don't like this handle very. I've never handled one, so I really shouldn't say anything. But in the Shaman, that's as far as I'm concerned, it's higher end Spyderco. I've never handled one. I also have started to get into traditionals. Me too. I tend to buy cheaper knives to figure out what I like and then buy better knives. Me too. Rough Rider knives are fantastic value traditionals in my honest opinion. I'm also getting into sharpening and really feel a connection to my dad. I love that story. I'm just saying, and no, that does not mean anything to anyone. I'm just saying that's because it's so similar to mine. In a way. As far as getting into the traditionals and the connection with your father, we do, like the other guy's comment said, where we trade, and I live with him currently, so I tell him that this is part of, he thinks that this is his knives too, but really they're all mine, and I just let him borrow some. Alright, I'm not going to keep going. That was 20 minutes of me just reading comments. I just wanted to give you guys those are the stories that I wanted to hear. I love that kind of stuff. And it's from all those comments, and there are more. If I didn't read it, I'm sorry. I just literally opened it up and went through the list and read it the best I could. There are more. If I read it, you got it read. If you didn't get it read, it doesn't mean anything. Nobody's won yet. The drawing's not till the 11th. Sunday the 11th. So tell me your story by the 11th if you want to be entered. If you have already told me a story, you don't need to enter again. Chewy's back. And that's it for now, I think. I'm just scrolling through. You know what? That was pretty much all of them. The other two were from other. I have a Shoe Monster Tech, who is another YouTuber. He says congrats on the 100 subs. And then Big Red EDC, another huge inspiration of mine, or not inspiration, well, an inspiration, but a huge supporter of mine in the beginning, says congrats on reaching 100 subscribers. Great idea for the giveaway. And that looks like that's all the comments. So there you go. Outpost 76, Big Red EDC, Patty's Potato Peelers, Jeff Jewell, you guys, amongst others, but those guys specifically definitely got me started. It was Patty's Potato Peelers who really, like, I built like a virtual over the shuck, as you would say, connection with him, I felt like. And I just he introduced me not only to the knives, but the community, and then damn traditional knives. Thanks a lot, Patty. Now I have like two different, because oh, that landed on recycling. That's okay. We're good. But he introduced me not only to the community, which brings up a whole nother subject, but to traditional knives. And as you can see, these, this is not all of them, but as you can see, I'm getting into it. And so thanks, Patty. Thanks for opening my eyes to not just one series of knives, meaning modern day EDC, but to this. Now I have to buy all of them. I'm joking. I love Patty. Jeff Jewell, if you guys are learning to sharpen, go to his channel. It's him that I basically learned from, amongst others, but he's the one who I sat there watching to learn. And I used his methods and developed it in my own way, and I do it how I do it. Alright guys, that's it for today. Well, for now. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Have a good day.